Hello world. Richard Carver here on day 161 of my sobriety after I spent 20 years of my life high. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. Got some questions for you tonight. Before the questions, what did I do this morning? Well, woke up a little bit early and got Kate off to work. Said, have a great day on day number 2 for her on her new full-time gig. So that was awesome. Had a little bit of breakfast, which consisted of a crazy muffin that I had a ton of fruit in and all kinds of different things. And I really didn't get much sleep because I went to bed so late because I'm bad. And so I went back to sleep for a little bit because I could. And went so deep into dreamland. It was amazing. Such intense dreams, wildness. Got up, practiced bass all day. Played bass, I played bass, and I played bass, and it was great. And then I went over to my buddy Jake's house, and we had practice with these songs that I'm working on for the cover band that I'm covering for whenever they have somebody out of the band doing whatever they need to do. I'll hop in and do bass, and I have my first doubleheader weekend coming up next weekend where we're traveling to Virginia, and I'll be doing a Friday and Saturday night gig with them and doing the Sunday live band karaoke, so it'll be a lot going on next week. I will still be live streaming every night. We're going to find a way to make that happen because I'm not going to miss a check-in. I got to do it. And then I came back here, and to be honest, I feel cloudy in the brain. I'm ready for some chill time and to just have a good time with you all. I see Liam up in here. Liam is in the house. What is up, my bro? How you been, man? I know last night Liam was hanging out with a friend of his playing a game, and on that note, since I got you all caught up on what it is that's going on in my world today, let's jump into these questions, and then maybe you guys can help me pick out a 5-string bass because that's my next step. I got this beautiful All-American 1996 Fender P bass. I love it so much. It's just my favorite bass that maybe I've ever played even. I love it so much. But I love it so much that I feel guilty taking it out to gigs, and I'm always staring at it, always making sure that well, of course I'll do that with this bass too. I'm always making sure that it's in eyesight in some way and that I'm not leaving it alone. But it does make me paranoid if I start getting some wear and tear on this bass. Again, it's a 1996, and it stayed in someone's closet pretty much this entire time. So that entire time before I owned it, it was a one-person owned bass prior to me. Immaculate condition, and I just don't want to nick it up. So I want to get one that's kind of, it would be nice if it was a little road worn, but still fresh. I got to check and see what the options are out there, but maybe we can do that together. We'll see how it flows. But before that, let's go in. We'll start a little bit of questions. First question of the night is going to be routine or spontaneity. What one would you guys pick? I would feel more drawn to routine personally. Liam says, hello, Richard, and Kate is in the house. Kate's giving some raising of the roof. What up, Kate? So what do you guys think? We got routine or spontaneity as a choice today. And I love some routine. It's great. As long as it doesn't mean I got to get up before I need to get up. I don't have an issue on the time of day. I just have an issue if I'm going to be destroying my brain by not getting enough sleep, I did that along with my drug abuse for all of those years as a very bad sleeping habit, and I can tell that they kind of go hand in hand. So I've been getting more sleep now than I have in a long time, and I can tell that I need it. My mind is craving it. It's a good thing for it. Spontaneity can be fun, but I definitely feel more drawn to routine. Kate kind of agrees on this. Routine, says Kate. She also says, I wish I could be spontaneous, but I like to plan things. Planning things gives me a sense of peace, I feel like spontaneity has its merit with some things, but I also have other responsibilities that I will feel guilty for if I'm being a little too spontaneous or something like that. I love to kayak, but I can't kayak unless I do things first to make sure that I can expend that energy and time kayaking. So it's probably why I haven't been kayaking lately. But I know that when I'm in the kayak and, when you're on a kayak, you're out in the middle of some water and you're very far from your house usually. So it'll take you a while to really get back and do anything. So if I'm not feeling totally at ease in the kayak, it's not like I can really do anything about it. So I don't love that feeling. Routine brings peace in some ways. So, all right, we're choosing routine on this end. Let's see. We got another question for everybody here, though. If you could eliminate one hereditary characteristic from your family, what would it be? Mine would be facial moles, I would say. Facial moles or heart condition stuff. I know that is a vast difference between the two, and I only just thought of heart condition. That's why I say it. But yeah, heart condition stuff I think had run in my mom's side of her family some, not so much in my father's side of the family, so maybe I didn't give it a thought of and how far it is if we all share the same. I don't think it is, but I have a heart condition that has gotten better and better since I've gotten older, long QT syndrome and PVCs. So I know that that would be great if I didn't have to worry about that in a hereditary sort of way. But you know, it also brought me to music, I think, by not being able to have, basically, when I'm really up, moving around, hardcore exercise, it's the cool down period afterwards that my heart has a hard time in calming itself back down without skipping beats and doing some electrical craziness. And that can be bad for you. I was on medication for it most of my life until I felt like I believed it out of existence in my body, which might just be a crazy thought, but maybe I did. I think I did. I don't take medication anymore either way, but by not being able to be as wild into sports as I had started off as a child, it got me more into music. I had time to really develop a love for music and really went down that path hardcore. And so I don't know if I would get rid of that hereditary bit. I did get a mole that I had on my nose over here surgically removed when I was a child because it was a big mole and it was annoying. So because I love everything else and I'm a fan of hereditary stuff and carrying on your parents' genes, I think that still would be my choice. I'd probably go with that. No nose moles. Kate agrees, by the way, with the routine versus spontaneity. She says, 0 stress. And so that is our next question to hear from you guys. Hereditary. If you could eliminate one hereditary characteristic from your family, what would it be? All right, while you guys are pondering that, yeah, Kate's pondering. She gives me lots of the So while we're pondering that one, I got 2 interesting ones right after that. So give it a 3, 2, 1. Give me that answer. And new question now. This one's an interesting one. If you had to keep one part of your mate's body in the freezer permanently, what part would you save? So this is a wild child of a question. It's an interesting one too, because it's like you can have some favorite parts of your mate's body, you know, the sexy parts, the pretty parts, the comforting parts. If it could only be a part, would any part of your mate's body be comforting though? It would all be pretty wild. You know, if you're just looking for memories, just some of their hair would be a great thing as a memory. But if we're saying that hair does not count as a body part, and we're talking about limbs and torso and butt and head, I'm probably torn between those two. You know, I like a nice butt. Butts are nice. I'm a butt guy for sure. But would I want just a butt in the freezer? With that, I don't know if that would really bring me happiness. With their head, if I just had their head frozen in the freezer, that would be insane. But then, like, if any other part, it would just be like a weird part in your freezer. So I feel like you might want the head. Kate's loving this discussion. Kate with the last question, everyone. She believes that the hereditary part that she would change in her family might be the teeth, but she's accepting of it because it's a part of her, but that's definitely hereditary. It's kind of the same way that I feel, Kate. You know, I'd pretty much keep it all. And Kate says, eyeballs. That's probably the best choice, eyeballs. Lips are good, too. I wasn't even thinking if you could just keep the whole head, though. You know, you get it all. I'd probably go with head. Because then I get to keep all of it. But if I had to get... Oh, man. Yeah, we're going to go with head. That's my choice on there. All right. Oh, well, thank you, Kate. Kate says, pretty eyes. You do, too. And next question. If you had... Wait, is this off center all of a sudden? I think it is. Let's move this on over. All right. If you had to give up all sexual activity for a year, how much money would you demand in return? Well, I think there's some power to that. I think abstaining is a good power. And I think it's not the hardest thing to do, but there would be no masturbation too. You know, I think that's a sexual activity. So, you know, if it's that I could ask for money, it's not like it's a hard thing. I don't think. I mean, it would be maybe a difficult thing. It wouldn't be you know, that, yeah, you could do it. But hey, if we get money out of it, let's get $1 billion, you know? Why not? I feel like that question is not properly worded because, hey, if we could get anything, just make it a bunch. Kate says, I don't like this question. I mean, $1 billion though, you know, if you could get $1 billion and stave off for a year, it has some value there. Also, I'm sure there's some type of body regulation and you know, power to it. So we might as well get the money's worth, you know. $1 billion. Not million, Billy with a B, Billy B. Kate says 100 billion. All right. Awesome. Those are our 4 questions for the evening. Give them some good thoughts. Let my camera go ahead and turn off on you all like it does. And it's all right because I'll throw this right on there because I, of course, had my other camera on for a while. But I have a fan unit that I might be getting for this other camera that keeps shutting off on me, everybody. My buddy Jake is a whiz at so many things, and he has offered to build me a fan box for this camera that keeps on shutting off on me. So that's what we may be doing. So give that a thought. One of the things that we're going to do right after this other camera cools off just a wee bit is we're going to go ahead and we're going to surf a little bit, and we're going to look for a 5-string bass together because I'm going to get a new 5-string bass and it's going to be awesome. I think another good question while we're waiting is going to be Gibson or Fender. That's going to be the next question, y'all. Let me just get this in here. Gibson or Fender? Gibson or Fender, everybody? That may be a hard one. To some, it might kind of be a hard one for me even to pick. I absolutely adore Gibson guitars. My dad has a German Shepherd named Gibson in celebration of how much we love Gibson guitars. However, Fender amps the best. Huge Fender amp guy. I also, one of my main guitars is a Fender Stratocaster, a pink Paisley Stratocaster, heavily modded with Lindsey Fralin pickups, which are hot rail pickups, double wrapped, so they're kind of humbuckers as well. Beautiful, beautiful guitar. It's why I have my Fender Twin, which is a 1968 Twin with a 15-inch bass speaker in it instead of two 12-inch speakers. It's awesome. I love it so much. But my main acoustic is my Gibson acoustic, and that's what I've written most of my music on. And my secondary, if not my main electric guitar, it kind of goes back and forth between that and the Fender Paisley, is a Heritage. It's a Heritage H110, and I love the Heritage so much. When Gibson moved factories from Kalamazoo, Michigan, and they moved down to Tennessee, where they're at presently, all of the generations of families that had made these Gibson guitars, they couldn't just move with the company, so many of them stayed back in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and many of them got together and formed a company called the Heritage, which were the luthiers from Gibson originally. So all of the early Heritage models are made by the same Gibson team. And mine's not far, so I'm going to grab it. It's just right here in its case. So let me show you what a Heritage H110 looks like. And you can kind of see how it looks like a Gibson Les Paul. Just that they had some blanks looking like they had, and they just drilled out an extra part so that they weren't going to get in trouble with Gibson. But I love this one so much. Heritage H110. She's from the 80s. While I'm keeping this in frame, I'm going to check out chat and see what we got going on there. And Liam says, I'm playing with my girlfriend, but I'm listening. Awesome, Liam. Awesome. I'm glad you're still listening, my brother. And hello to Liam's girlfriend. What's your girlfriend's name, man? Kate says, I don't think I've played enough Gibsons to decide personally, but I'm sure it would be my answer. Although I only have Fenders, and I like them. Oh, and then she says, hot. Thank you so much, Kate. I love this one so much. It's got the flame in there. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera there, the way it's flamed on the top. But then she has a cherry back. So it's like a Gibson. To me, it is, just because it's still made by the same people. Nowadays, there's been so much time in between. I'm sure there's new luthiers in the Heritage, and maybe they're their own company now with their own vibe and stuff. But this is an 80s one. But I have not played any new Heritages. So if we're talking guitars, Gibson. That's my choice. Gibson. I love them so much. If we're talking amps, Fender. All right, and on that one, I think that we've given this camera enough time to cool down. I'm going to turn her back on. And let us pop back over to it. Cool. All right, and let's go on a ride together, y'all. Let's see. Let's look, because I've already been looking a little bit, and one of the ones that I'm into right now is this this Gibson here. It's a wild looking Gibson, and I think it's pretty cool. It's a 5-string. It's got Gibson humbuckers on it, but it's a 2018, so it's pretty new for a 5-string. It's very interesting looking to be a Gibson, to be honest with y'all. Gibson usually does their classic looks, but it has no finish on it. It's basically just a natural body, which I kind of enjoy. Hardshell case comes with it. and it's a passive, not active pickups, which I could get into active pickups, but I've never had an active pickup bass before. Kate's asking, what's the difference with the passive and active? The actives are just louder more than anything. Then they're battery powered is the thing. You always have a 9-volt in the actual bass, which I don't know how much I love. Because sometimes the 9-volt gets weaker and it actually makes the bass sound a little weaker as it goes too. But this does have good sounds. I'm not sure if it's fully coming through the speakers because I know it's not coming through the feed, but it's got the Grovers. Most Gibson has Grover tuners. I kind of like that red one even better. I wish the red one was available. Alright, well, it's in the liked section, so it's liked. But let's go, and we're going to look for a little bit. What'd you think of that one, Kate? You like that red one? The red one was nice, right? That deep maroon look. This is a cool looking one too. Ooh, this is nice. Way cheaper too. Could you hear the sound okay come through there, Kate? Because I thought it did sound pretty nice too. Definitely different than my Fender P bass. Yeah, the battery thing's kind of weird. Well, this one luckily does not have the battery thing. That was the best part of that. Let me keep that window open actually, so that I can go back and forth. And let's take this one out of here, because this was when I was looking for a 4-string, and I have found my 4-string. Yeah, the sound was pretty good. Awesome, awesome. Alright, so this one, these are all, kind of used. They're all used on sale from the owners of these. This is an interesting one. I don't love how long this arm is. This arm is huge, the top arm. But it's a PV, also natural wood. It's kind of nice though. Looks like it has active pickups, but I don't think they are. I don't love that it's built. I mean, it's not the worst thing. It's in Vietnam. But if I can get American made, I would like that. But I'm open. Again, this is going to be my touring, concert bass. So I'm open to what happens because of that. I may keep this one in the favorites too. The price is pretty nice for $389. Really not bad, especially in comparison to the Gibson being 900 and then whatever the shipping's going to be. But it also has a hard shell case with that Gibson. All right, let's get back on our search. Oh, I can't go backwards. This one's wild. I might not even click on that $8,000 one. We know we're not going to get it. You like the color? I do too. I really like the wood, and it's a string. It's a not a string through, a neck through. Which, is it also a string through? Actually, it might be. No, they go into the bridge. But yeah, the neck throughs are really cool. It goes all the way through the body like that. Why can't I see? There we go. Super neat. I guess it is a string through. It looked like it did not do that. Yeah, why is it $8,000? Well, I guess it's neat looking, but it's very interesting. Boutique Custom Shop Census Base, a 5-string tribal edition by GB Luteria. The wood is wild, the base neck's wild, the headstock's wild. It looks like you put the ball ends on the top of the head. Very wild neck. Honestly, it looks like it's not even the wood. It looks like it's like a print wrap, but I guess it's the wood. But 8,000 is way too much, and it's 1,000 for shipping. So we're going to say bye-bye to that one. Kate says, haha, oh my god. Yeah, we got to say goodbye to that one. That one's not happening. Oh wait, these were two separate ones. What am I doing? So this PV and this PV were actually different ones. They looked so alike. That's why I was saying the string through versus the neck through one. How did I not catch that? Are they the same? PV grind. And then what is this one? Are they the same? Maybe it's because they are, yeah. They're both grind. Well, one's for $375 and local pickup only, and the other one will ship. So we're going to go with the one that can ship. It's a Shrek base. It is a Shrek base. It does look like that. There's our Gibson that we looked at earlier. And then when it comes down to it, I might just want, a good old trusty Fender jazz bass. The jazz basses are tried and true. See, here's an active jazz bass. That's 900. Fernandez might be kind of cool. It's kind of neat looking. Yeah. And it's from Japan. I like Japanese made instruments. That's what my Fender Paisley is Japan. Hmm. Da-doo-doo-ba-ba-da-doo. Oh, it has a preamp in it, so it's active. You see that in the back there? You got the battery port for that on the back as well, that big rectangle one. Yo, Tony Voiles in the house. What up, Tony? Great to see you, man. We're looking at my next bass right now. We're looking into what my next, because I have a fantastic 4-string. I love it so much. My Fender P bass, 1996 American, but I need to get a 5-string, and I need to get one that I'm going to be cool with going and playing venues with, and not be Mr. Paranoid about it all the time. So even this was a cool one. We're just going to say no to this one because it's active, and that's the main reason. Kate says looks beefy but cool. Let's see what else we got to offer. Whoa, that shank looks wild there. Shank Instruments, a scramble. It's a heavy price, $2,500, but honestly, I really like the look of that one. That's a wild one. I'm into this one. Wow, could you imagine if that was my baby there? Shoo! Look at that wood. Wow. Wowza. But the other thing I don't love is it's got a maple neck. I don't love maple necks. I would like a rosewood, like a dark neck on there, you know? And I don't want to spend $2,500. It's very me. Thanks, Kate. You know, the thing about it is, even though I would love to go hard on this stuff, I do want to get one that is a wee bit more in the affordable range, and not one that I would freak out if I got nicks and scratches on it or something, you know? So we're going to say goodbye to the Shank Instruments one. Maple syrup. Tony, oh my gosh, I am so delicate with my instruments. No maple syrup on my instruments, please. I ask anybody, well, really, I'm all about hand washing like a ton of times. Like, and anybody that's in my house, I really appreciate if they wash their hands a ton of times, because then I'm in my house touching things, you know? And it's 100%. If anyone wants to touch any of my instruments, I ask them to please wash their hands first. No maple syrup on my basses or anything, because, you know, I learned that long ago. Like, you know, I'm always grabbing my instruments. I always want really clean hands so I can grab one and not worry about it. So I just always keep my hands really clean. But I also have had a terrible memory of a great friend of mine eating pepperoni pizza and just getting it all over his hand. We're talking like tomato sauce and meat juice all over his hands. And he just grabbed one of my guitars and played it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, feeling it. And I come back to it afterwards, and it literally has tomato sauce underneath the strings, you know. And after that memory, I just could never. It's a rough one. Definitely no maple syrup, and also no pizza. But it also brings a really awesome, you know, Journey, the band Journey. My good friend George, he did design work for an entire tour for them. Like, you know, he was in charge of all the camera work, all the designs in the background of their actual stage, all the stuff, all the graphics that would play on the screens. So he was in their practice like factory or whatever, you know, like the big place where they would go and practice all the time, and got pretty close with whatever that guitarist's name is, famous guitarist. His name's escaping me right now, but and then went toured like all across America with them. It was really awesome that he got to. However, in their rider, that guitarist always called for a plate of salami, which was wild, because it wasn't that he ate it. It was that he would have it on stage and he would rub his fingers on the meat and then play the guitar with his fingers being even more slidey. And that's always blown my mind, because I would never. Kate says, yes, rosewood, though. Must wash hands. Yes, please. And then, here's a good suggestion. Let me look what that looks like. Tony says, a Yamaha BB3000 MA, like Michael Anthony's. All right, let's check this out. What's it look like? Yamaha, what's that? BB3000 MA. Whoa, that's cool. I would be into that. Well, here, oh, it's 4100 though, my bro. But it's a hottie. That's a definite hottie. Shoo. Oh, yeah, that's a good option. Well, see, I also want to make sure they're 5 strings. I have to make sure of that. I was just saying, I'm going to grab my 4 string. I think it's been a while since it's been on stream, so we can get an idea of what I got going on versus what we're going to get afterwards, you know? Because the P-bass style, but it's got the rosewood neck. So this is the baby here. 1996 All-American Sweetheart on there. So we got the P-bass down. And it's a 4, so we got to get a 5. Just to go a little lower, and one that is preferably used, because I'm going to not want to be so worried about it when I take it out to shows. But the Rickenbacker would be great. I love Ricks. I am a Rick. All right, let's see on here. Back to our search, everybody. The ding walls are cool. That's what my buddy Steve, the drummer for Katie Del Turbo 5000, he's got a white ding wall, which is beautiful. Ibanez BT 605. What do you got here? Oh, she shut off on us. All right. I just got to throw in this camera on this other scene real quick. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, the ding wall is really neat. I'll show what Steve has in a second, babe. Let me go ahead and add this camera onto here. Cool. It's like nothing ever happened, everybody. I never disappeared. It never said Elgato on the screen. All right, so we were going to look into the BTB 605. Yeah, we're getting there. I'd be into something like that. Ibanez are an interesting one. I've played some good Ibanezes. They're fast. They're always very, very fast playing. I'd want to hear a video on them too. This Ibanez over here looks kind of neat. 500 local pickup only, but it's all wood. It's not even wrapped. Ooh. Kate says El Gato. Thank you very much, Mr. El Gato. Thank you. Thank you. This is a sweet Ibanez. I feel like this is probably an active one, right? Yep, there's the battery. But, gosh, do they have a video? I'd love to watch a video on this one. But it's also a sound gear, so usually are they Chinese made if they're sound gear? What does that say right there? Indonesia. Okay. It's a pretty cool looking one. 500 local pickup only. Where are you? Oh, it's in Texas. At Landon's Locker. We're going to have to say goodbye to this one. Tony, if I go and get this one, I might have to drive through Mississippi. But I don't think I'm going to make it to Texas for this guy. So we're going to have to let her go. Ibanez SR305E, Tony says. Let's look what that one is. Ibanez SR305E. Yeah, there we go. Something like this one. That's a hottie. That's a hottie right there. Ooh. Could get it brand new at $530. I mean, that's really not that bad. Now, is that a stain or is that a wrap? I wonder. It is powered, but it's pretty. If it's a stain, I could be into that. I don't like the wrap ones as much. Let me, I'll keep that on the tab there. This is kind of nice. I liking this one. Wow. We got a Fender 5-string, a white one, and it's a jazz bass. And I would be down with a jazz bass. I'd even be open to a white one. Wow. Outer body. I like this one, guys. It's pretty nice. We'll put it in the... We'll add it to the favorites. Whoa. Look at that F-Bass Deluxe. $7,000, but it looks pretty cool. Whoa. I wouldn't get it, but it looks neat. Ish. Not for $7,500 though. All of a sudden it looks a little less neat. But you're down with the white too, Kate? Doesn't that look neat? I really like that one. Especially because then I would have a Fender P bass and I'd have a Fender J bass. You know, I have the PJ combo. And it's really not that expensive. It's not a rosewood fretboard, but it's a Pal Faro, which is still a dark fretboard. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Paul Faro? Ferro? But for, just over $700 with shipping included. It says, no signs of significant damages or evidence of repairs. Electronics function as they should. Excellent condition with only light signs of use. Tony's got a couple other Ibanez suggestions to check out here. The Ibanez SR305 EDX and the Ibanez GSR 205. Let's check out what those look like, Tone. So I'm going to keep the Ibanez SR305E up. And then let's do the Ibanez SR305 EDX. Whoa. That is a wild one with a frozen matte. See, that looks like it's a wrap. If that one's got a wrap, but this one looks pretty neat. I kind of like that 305E even better. Let's check out the other one here, the GSR 205 PC. GSR 205. Ooh. Yeah. That's a hottie. And very affordable. Get out of my face, Guitar Center. I will not order off Guitar Center because I boycott them after what I had to deal with them at my old job. But I'm sure I could find this on Sweetwater. It is very pretty and affordable. Here's one at Sweetwater here. Not too shabby. Very, very, very affordable. And looks good. Got the two color options for brand new. Either a pale black burst or a blue burst. I'd probably get a pale black burst if I did. Another active one. I like them. And Tony, before you got on, I had one other one up here that I was leaning towards, but the price isn't right. The price is a little more on the expensive side. It's at $895. It's this Gibson EB bass. It's very cool looking. Sounds great. Gibson humbuckers on there and all. Natural finish. I still really love this bass. I have this other PV on here. Kind of interesting. Oh, got the maple neck. Maple syrup neck, y'all. Can't do it. Original 1996 PV, though. Usually it's made in USA. When they're in the 90s, it's PV was doing all USA stuff, which is really cool. Gosh, that's kind of neat. Plays like butter, only a few nicks off the paint of regular use. It's in Henderson, Nevada. I'll be honest with you, it's got a bunch of nicks in it, actually. It is actually significantly nicked up. I'm not sure that it's coming through in the pictures. Because I can't scroll downwards with this, unfortunately. Maybe you can kind of see in that one. But that's kind of what I want. I want something. Oh, you know what? It's got 2 little frets on that fretboard too. I hate that. I need to get one more. It can't end on a dot. I got to have one more past the dot. What is it, a 22 fret? Let me see. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, I always look for a 22 fret instrument. Sorry, PV. We got to let you go, buddy. This is kind of a neat one. This burgundy one. That's wild looking. Warwick. Huh. Pretty expensive though. Especially for a bolt on. Interesting neck and head. Sounds great for a passive bass, it says. Yeah, he's just throwing it in the grass. I'm surprised it wasn't in mud, Kate. Yeah, it was significantly messed up. Tony says, hey, Kate, nice to see you. Kate says, what up, Tony? What up, what up? Thank you guys for helping me try and pick out my next bass. Oh, I see Tony's suggesting a Yamaha up there. I really love Yamahas. Let's see what that one looks like, Tone. I got a compromised password, everybody. Yamaha TRBX 605 FM5. Why can't they just call it like a Frank? You know? Gotta have all these things in it. Oh, that's pretty though. Shoo! Look at that dark red burst there. That's kind of neat. See, and that one's got a 24 fret neck. That's a pretty one. For 700 shipped, that's not bad. Active, but it's the actual wood and not a wrap, which I really like. Huh. This is kind of a neat one. I'll keep this open. It also has the orange one. Oh, the caramel's cool too. Natural's even nice. That natural's pretty. Alright, that's a good suggestion, Tony. I like this Yamaha. We'll keep that Yamaha out. I think it beats this, is this the, which one was this one? I think it beat that one. We're going to say goodbye to that Ibanez. The GSR, but we're going to keep the SR305 out just in case. Gibson's we're keeping out. The Warwick Rock bass. We'll say goodbye to it. Fender one we liked. Peavy's on the watch list as well. Cool. Tony likes the dark red one too, and the orange one is cool too, says Kate. Yeah, that was a kind of a neat one. That one's going to stay in the list for sure. We got this Dingwall here. Wild. This one's super wild looking. It looks almost like a jazz bass, but just with its fanned frets that it does, where all the frets are sideways type of thing. And this has a huge dent in it, and it's going to still go for $5,700. Not for us. It won't go. That won't be how much we pay for it, because we will pay nothing for it. Oh, uh-oh. What do I see here? Do I see a sister to my P bass, but in a jazz bass form, and instead of a 1996, it's a 1997? Whoa. 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 Hello. Why is it so cheap? What's going to be going on with this? There's got to be a catch. Because it has a very tiny crack on the back of the headstock coming off the B tuning machine near the edge. Is that going to split the head? Where is that? Near the B. Yeah. That's definitely not good. Huh. Everybody is agreeing, like, oh my god, right? It's like my other bass. It's kind of perfect. That really is nothing too bad to worry about with that tuning peg up there. That's not it's not like a hairline fracture in a neck area. It's got some tension that's going to be there, but it's on the lowest string, so it'll have the least amount of tension. And a hard shell case included. Whoa, guys. Hairline crack. So that line close to the edge here is not the hairline. It's the hairline right along with that screw. So it's not even all the way through it. And realistically, you can put some super glue in that, you know, it's really not that bad. Huh. Other than that, maybe a little oxidation on the pickguard screws and some honest, moderate play wear, but that's kind of what I want. Includes a Fender ATA hardshell case. The other interesting part is it's an active one, which a lot of jazz basses are not active, so that's an interesting thing. But I could get into it. It's just like my baby. This is on Reverb, Tony, so it's kind of like eBay, but eBay for musicians in a way, and not exactly, I guess, like not exactly like eBay because they have like a set price, but you can make offers. You have like I think my head's in the way, but there's a make an offer button. I want to take myself out of here real fast, and you can kind of see. Whoopsie, I went backwards. You can see the make an offer button there. Well, before that went down. Of course, this side doesn't fully scroll. There's a make an offer button there. There we go. There's the make an offer button. So I could even potentially get it for a little cheaper. Well, this is going definitely on the watch list, guys. I'm really liking this one a lot. What do you guys feel like? They have feedback or any returns? Let's see. I think at the bottom of their description, they said, instrument is sold as described, so please ask any and all questions before purchasing. So maybe I can ask them a little more about that hairline crack. Yeah, because they're pretty adamant. It's just the one tiny line coming from the B tuning machine screw. Oh, look, they did glue it. I didn't read the whole thing. I was saying you could just put some glue in there. There was no separation, so I injected it with glue and clamped it so it wouldn't spread. Then I wet sanded it and polished it smooth. That's probably why he's selling it for the price that he's selling it, is because a lot of people would look at that and be like worried about it. But it's really nothing to worry about if he did the work already on it to stop it from spreading. Golly, golly. All right, it's going in the list. We're going in the watch list. We're going to check out a couple more. Kate says, definitely up there, baby. Super cool that it matches yours so similarly. All for $520. That's a great idea. Yeah, if I offer a little less. So the other thing that I just noticed that I'm going to, it's really not that, it's not bad at all. It's just different. Is that I did notice that it's got, it was made in Mexico. So I try to go made in America if I go Fender, or made in Japan. But the thing is, in the 90s, the Mexican factories were actually pretty good. So it's just different. My other one is a made in America. The P bass. But again, if I'm going to get scratches and dings in this, I probably don't want it to be an American one, So it's staying in the wanted list for sure. See, then you get the actual American. There we go. That's the price you'd expect. $12.50 area. A jazz bass. Whew. This is a hottie. Look at this one. It's like mine, just way darker. Shoo. She's a hottie too. Fender American Professional 2. So that means it's going to be pretty new. Oh yeah, 2020. It says right there. I don't know. $12.50. It is an American. I don't know if I want to do $12.50. I'm actually going to like that one though. I kind of really like this. Flat wounds. Oh man. Oh, the things that I want. We can tattoo America on it, says Tony. Yeah. No one will ever know except this chat. It'll be our little secret. All right. I got to get back in the brain thing. Let me take a little sip of a blue drink, and that'll give me some. Look how blue that looks in the light. That's wild. And I poured it on myself. The light right on it. The main inspiration for getting another bass tone is I am playing a lot more, playing gigs out and stuff, and I love my Fender P bass so much that let me see here. There we go. The other camera's cooled down. I love the other one so much, my American, that I'm super paranoid about getting it scratched or nicked while I'm playing out. Just the elements oxidizing any of the hardware and stuff like that. So it's a 4-string, which is standard bass, but I've been just wanting a couple lower notes a lot of the time, and I'd love something that I wasn't as paranoid about. So that's why I'm even trying to stay away from some of the more expensive ones, because I'll just end up being paranoid about them as well. I want something that, I wouldn't so much mind giving it a couple bangs, but it's also why, I would still try and take care of it, of course, but it's one of those reasons why if you get a paint on them, they're just going to show all those nicks and scratches. But if you get the natural wood, it doesn't really even show as much if it's unfinished, which I love unfinished anyway. So a couple of these cool unfinished ones, like that Gibson I was showing, you know, it not only is it awesome because it's a Gibson, but it'll have even more longevity in how it looks, you know. Kate says blue. Did it show up as blue for you on the screen as it was for me? It was looking like some type of wild elixir over here. Like this white one is great. It is really great. But it will show nicks on it. This one really won't show as many nicks on it, this PV. And it's a neck through, which is amazing. I really still like this PV a lot. I think it's really cool looking. Let's update this wanted list here. So we've got the American 2, which is $12.50, which I'm just going to drop this out of here. I don't want to spend that much money on it, so let's get that off of there. So we're at the 97 Fender Deluxe Active Jazz Bass 5, the one that's kind of a sister instrument to the one I have, made in Mexico though. We got the Fender Player Jazz Bass in white, made in Japan, and then the PV with the neck through, natural finish, super cool natural finish one. And then we have our Gibson one, which is the most pricey of the bunch, but it's a Gibson, so it's just going to keep value and play like a beast and incredible. Tony says I can take a $200 drum kit and make it sound like a $1,500 set, but drums are a little different. What would you, is that like in the heads, Tony? I think I've shown my set before over here. Actually, I won't move this one. I can just turn my other camera and pop it over. I love my set, but it's not anything I'd say to, like, I don't know, write home about. I don't know. I love it. It's a Gretsch Blackhawk. But let's see. This is my set here right next to me. It's hard to get an angle on it from where I'm sitting. But it's all black shell cases. All right. Pop it back down. And you like that white one too? Yeah. We say a little longer for the search before we pack it in for the night. It's a little longer. I'm down for a little longer, just a little bit, because I know we're going to find something good out there. I want to be a little more dedicated in price range and in knowing kind of what I'm looking for on this one now. Natural finish. Oh, but all right, we got to take a little excursion. We got a 12-string bass here. What in the world? This is awesome. Probably sounds a bit muddy. It's a Dean. I would not get this bass, but it's not even showing a full body picture. I want a body picture. There's not one full body picture of this bass. Well, that just means I want to click off you. How about that? I see that Fender bass there too, but it's got the maple fretboard, not down with the maple frets. Tony says, yeah, mostly the heads. American heads are my favorite. Then it's the tuning that's a factor. Hey, Kate, you get sleepy on us, Kate? Kate's had a long day. Kate has a Martin that's really cool. Did I say American heads? I did. Aquarian heads. I said American because I don't think I've ever heard of Aquarian heads. I mostly have heard of like Evans and one other one that's really popular. Oh, you're playing some music, Kate? That's awesome. We could talk about guitars and talk. I'm a guitar talker. Sorry, Kate. Yeah, I don't know how I've never even seen them around. But again, I'm not like a drummer. Um, Maybe my drummer buddy Jake, who I was just over his place tonight, maybe he would have known him. Kate just really hates talking about guitars, is what it is. She just doesn't like guitars, I guess. She's like, no, that's not what I meant. She just said all of the talk about guitars made her not want to hear about it anymore. No, I'm kidding. Just made her want to play guitar. I'm messing with you. Look at these guitars. These are pretty wild here. The one to the left is a lot like my buddy Tom's. He has one just like that one. But the one in the center here, the $7,500 one, is wacky. Kind of neat, though. As is the one to the right of it, that $4,600 one. But we're going to keep on scrolling. We're not going to click on the things we know we're not going to get, Rick. Come on. Move along. Move along. Could maybe look at this Yamaha one. This Yamaha one's kind of neat. For $450. That's kind of cool looking. Natural, no finish on there. Nice looking neck. It is an active. That's kind of neat. Very affordable price. Another Warwick 1600. Man, look at that ding wall. This is a lot like Steve's, Kate. This one here, this might be the same type, but Steve's is white. But the one here that has the 3 pickups in a row, I think this is Steve's type of guitar, actually. Bass guitar. Like, gorgeous. Look at that fan fretboard. Wild. Tony says, just kind of changing the subject just a bit. When did you learn yourself that us musicians are different kind of folks? I guess as I've just been going with it, you know. it kind of ties in a little bit to the questions earlier that I had posed, which is like, what's a hereditary thing that maybe you would take out of your guys's genes if you could, as one of the questions. And I said maybe a heart condition, but also maybe not, because it added to where I'm going now in life and what my whole life has been, which is very music based. I used to be very into sports, loved baseball and so many different sports and all, but learned from an early age that I really couldn't do crazy active sports because of my heart condition. When it would be at like a high rate of when my heart rate would go really high, I would have a hard time in the cool down zone. So baseball, golf, things like that I could do, but it really kind of pointed me more in the direction of music, because it was more things that I could get into that wasn't as active outside doing all this wild stuff. Like, it's again why maybe I got so into fishing for a while too, because you're just not as, run with it. But it was the Time Life compilation CD set that came out in the late 90s, I think, that really did it, which was, my pop and my mom, they owned a landscaping company, and my dad would always drive around, check on jobs and stuff, and we had that full CD set in his Tahoe at the time. And now I grew up with vinyl records and stuff, just fooling with them, having fun with music, loving music as a kid and all of that. I got my first guitar at 5, but I was just fooling around. Went through a big country music phase when I was really young. But nothing spoke to me like that Time Life compilation set of CDs that had all of those hits on them from every year. And I got really hooked on Freebird and listening to Freebird. And really, so many of them. It was just all kinds of stuff that I just like. There was that Sears, or maybe it was the JCPenney's catalog. What was it? Sears or JCPenney's catalog? Whichever one was like the big Christmas catalog. I guess the Sears, the big Christmas catalog with all the pictures in the back and stuff. And I really wanted an electric guitar so that I could learn how to play Freebird. And I would like imagine myself playing in front of my school and all. And that was really my like foray into like getting serious about guitar when I was 11. And then just meeting everybody in those worlds. And through that time, and especially going to college for music, that's when I learned for sure that musicians are a different bunch of people. And I wish that our place in society was a little different, because I think it takes a lot of hard work, intelligence, and sacrifice to be a musician and an artist. And unfortunately, there's sometimes little pay that goes towards the arts and the performing musicians in the world. And I think that all of the work that they do, that we do, I do, I wish it was a little more celebrated and financially backed, and more financial stability in it, instead of it being treated as a hobby, because I think it takes a lot of sacrifice and brain power to be a musician, But that's my rant. What about you, Tim? Tony says, I've had so many people come up to me and say they wish they could play but can't. I have told them, if you do not have rhythm, it ain't happening. That's just my opinion. No, it's so true. Rhythm is such a foundation. I was a teacher for 20 years, music teacher for 20 years, and honestly, that was a really hard thing. If there was no rhythm there, which it's a real thing, some people actually do not have it, and it's not something that you can really fully teach. You can kind of get close to it, and you can kind of get the concept, and they can go about it for a bit, but they struggle with it for a bit, But there are many people who it's just as a thing. It just comes naturally what a rhythm is, and others that really have to work for it. But I would see that equate to how quickly progress could be made or not, that rhythm amount. Because even guitar, you're just getting that rhythm of, you got two directions, you got down and up, and you're equating that, you got all kinds of different stuff eventually that you build on it, but you start at 1, 2, 3, and 4, I truly believe musicians are born with rhythm. I truly believe if you are a musician, you're born with rhythm. I agree. And also about timing. Yep. Timing, dynamics. All right. Let's see. Uh-oh. Another sweet looking Yamaha over there. That white one. That's kind of a neat one. It's got one picture, though. Very, very bare bones. One picture. Very affordable, but I don't think that I can get into it for how little I know about that. It is cute. I do like that one too, Kate. I really do like it, but it doesn't have a lot of info, you know? Yeah, I think everyone's relaxing on the watching the process there, Tone. But hey, at least we're rolling with it, and Kate's checking it out too. She's playing in comment where she can for sure. I think if I know correctly, Liam I think is still in as well. Liam, you out there? Liam's chilling with his girlfriend tonight, but I think he's chilling and listening. Gosh, that's another really cool looking one. This Joseph Neo one. The Joseph contrabass. Whoa. Look at this blueberry. That is a cool looking bass. Whoa. Handmade 5-string electric. Shoo, girl. Dang. You're a pretty little thing. Look at that fretboard. Golly. I'd have to sell my car for this or something. And we're not going to do that. Yeah. I mean, I could kind of see myself with it, though, to be honest with you, you know? Look at those hummingbirds. That is so cool. I think it's a gorgeous bass. It's busy in a beautiful way. The colors are just gorgeous. Gosh, I like this bass. And I don't think that's just paint. I think that the body is drilled. Like that's a dremeled out hand, like carved. It says that these are handmade acoustic and electric guitars made in the tropical island of Bali. Whoa, yes, it's wood carved, made by our experienced team of traditional wood carvers and artisans. Whoa. Yeah, so those are carvings that are then stain painted. And how that what is that, the pistil of the flower raising above the headstock there even? That is incredible. I'm afraid just because I want to look at it again. Tony says that's a Kate bass. That is a Kate bass. Kate, I could see you rocking this bass too. Tony agrees. It is badass looking. I am very impressed. I've never heard of this company, but I like them a lot. So I favorited it so we can see it again someday. I know I said I wasn't going to click on guitars that I wasn't going to buy, but that one just had to get clicked on. Kate says, I'm surprised it's not more, to be honest. I kind of am too. I'm surprised it wasn't like $8,000 or something around in there, you know, $3,500 for something with that type of artistic quality. You know, it kind of felt affordable. Not affordable, but, you know, affordable in comparison to what you'd be getting with that. And Kate says, I need to learn bass first. Well, Kate, I'm a teacher up in here. You know, I can teach you some bass. We can do some bass. I slap at a bass. We got to get you on that set next to me here, Kate. I know that Kate was a drummer in your church band, was it, Kate? We gotta get you back on your chops and get some drum and bass action. Tony agrees that it probably looks like it could be a more expensive bass even. All right, everybody, this is about the 5-ish minute warning. I'm going to hop off at midnight. We're at 11:53 Eastern time, but we're coming into the home stretch. I just really am having a great time doing this with you guys. So, like, I thank you guys so much for chilling with me and doing this. Honestly, it's awesome because this has to happen. I might make it happen, like, really soon. The other thing that I'm going to get, I might as well show you guys this other thing that I'm going to get here. This is called a neural quad cortex. And I'm going to have this where I am going to be taking this to shows with me, and then that way I can just plug right into their PA system. And you don't even have to bring an amp. And you have all of the amp options with you. I have some, like this amp in the back of me here. This is a 1967 Bassman head amp with a 58 or 59 Vibra King. And then right behind me here is a 1968 Twin Reverb amp. I'm not bringing them out of the house. They don't go out. But this Quad Cortex here does these series of bloops and bleeps and stuff like that. Bloop, 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 all these different sounds, and it perfectly learns what your amp can do and then is able to perfectly recreate it. But then you can bring it with you in a very small, compact box, along with all types of different amp modelers on the inside as well. And those foot switches, you can switch back and forth between effects as well. I can't wait to get it. It is a pretty penny, but luckily they have a payment plan type of thing. So I think that's going to happen with this. And this is just one of those types of things that I'll need for gigging as well. But once I get this and my new bass, and I'm going to replace the speaker in my bass amp that I have, it's on its last legs, I should be pretty solid after that. I'm just going to have it all wrapped up into one. And the great part is this Quad Cortex can be played with guitar or bass. And Kate says, yep, I played for quite a few years as a teen. All right, let's see. This Charvel is pretty cool looking here. I know it's red paint, but it's a Charvel, which are kind of neat ones. I kind of have a soft spot for them. I don't know. I don't feel drawn to the color. Well, it does have a preamp. Hipshot tuner's been added to it. A string retainer and Dunlop strap locks on there. So it's got some awesome stuff going for it. Yeah, I'm just not as drawn to it as I am to some of the other ones. So we're going to say goodbye to this Charvel. Hey, Tony says, glad to see you both and have a great evening. We'll see you again, God willing. As we said in the 70s, far out, groovy, and peace out. Tony, peace and love. Keep the faith, brother. I'm hopping off of here in a few minutes as it is. Thank you for chilling with us and teaching me about some aquarium drum heads. Have a great night. Say hello to the missus for us, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow night, man. Peace. All right, we still rolling there, Kate. Couple more minutes. Something might hit us. If you see something, tell me to stop. Yo, Jake in the house. What's up, my brother? Jake and Bake. I am looking at 5-string basses right now. And I was just showing everybody this quad Cortex that I'm going to be getting to. I was mentioning to you tonight. But I'll show you these basses. I was just about done our search for the evening. I think we're coming back down to about the bottom here of this page. So I want to say we're probably done with that. Kate says, LOL, Jake at the last minute. Jake says, always. Jake, it was great jamming with you tonight, man. That was fun. Jake, your drum skills are on it, bro. On it. That was so fun, man.